Very good afternoon. Today it's my great honor to welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Vaibhav Shrivastava, Pro Vice-Chancellor of IIMT Meerut University, Uttar Pradesh, for today's session. Dr. Srivastava is a visionary leader in education, expert in integrating technology with learning. He will speak the highly relevant topic today, that is AI-enabled blended education and its impact on financial learning. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing education today, especially in fields like finance, by making learning more interactive, personalized, and impactful. Today, we will explore how this combination is shaping the future of education, empowering financial professionals for tomorrow. Dear learners, I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity to learn from Dr. Siva's deep insights. Now, let's warmly welcome him. Thank you very much. Over to Jyoti. Jyoti, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, thank you, the head of our family, Murthy sir, for giving the contest of this session today. Now, few more words that would be really less, even to introduce Dr. Shrivastava sir here with us. So, though we have already shared, but again, I would like to add a few petals in the club. With his vast experience in academic administration, Dr. Vaibhav Shrivastava sir, or is Pro Vice-Chancellor also in IIT Meerut, UP, he is celebrated as an educator, and he has delivered 18 plus courses in physics, engineering, and published extensively in high impact journals. His research are focused advanced materials and innovative techniques. He has also played a very key role in NAAC accreditation and fostering research and collaborations. So today he will be sharing his insights on AI-enabled blended education, which is our main topic, and we are trying to get the impact on financial learning. Let's welcome Professor and Dr. Vaibhav Shrivastava on our virtual stage to share his guidelines and experience with our students and partners, how we can just gain all his knowledge from this small session. Sir, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule and share this session with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Murthy ji, for warm welcome. Thank you, Jyoti ji, for this nice welcome speech. Thank you, everyone, for giving me this opportunity to permit me to share my views on this particular topic. And let me be honest to all of you that I'm not a finance guy at all. And yes, what is my domain actually? I'm playing with finances to make the life easy for a XYZ student who is coming to the university. And this has been a very interesting topic, and I had an opportunity to share my views on some more selective panels. And this is again in continuation that I got the invitation from Delhi also to be in a position to share my views. Thank you very much. And let's try to explore this topic, very interesting topic. And this is completely my perspective. And being a scientist, and that too specifically from the physics background, how I have realized this problem as a science problem, that will be included in the middle somewhere that you will see. But first of all, in a few slides, I would try to explain the idea behind setting up this topic of discussion and how this particular topic is going to progress as we go forward. And then maybe you will get some insight that, okay, these are some queries, those can be generated in the middle also. So everybody is absolutely free to ask whatsoever you feel that you would like to ask. Let me just begin with the outline of this talk. This is how I'm going to span this whole discussion. I'll be starting with the topic that is the blended education that has absolutely become a new normal in Indian education system. And being an higher education administrator, I have been mostly roped in policy making ordinances and a lot of issues which were actually relevant to this so-called new normal that has been launched in our Indian education system, and how it is going to affect different sectors that will be covered. And then basically how out of all those sectors financial learning is becoming important, and that is actually touching each and every life as on date. And then I'll move as an example for the financial literacy. That again has become a paradigm of this particular domain of financial learning. Then I'll go to my domain. What was the science designing all this discussion, science behind it, and then how artificial intelligence as a technique intervened into our lives. And our lives, when I say, means you say any sector. You talk about education, you talk about MSMEs, you talk about production. Each and every sector is now having AI intervened. That's absolutely true. Then what do we expect from AI to deliver? That will be covered as the role of AI to design a cohesive approach. And then basically how how education domain has got the complete impact of this AI enabled financial learning. Means you would believe that how in higher education decades have seen the change. Decades have seen the change. Earlier what was happening, a trend was there when most of the students were prompted to go for only engineering education. Then a time came when a substantial percentage of students were prompted for going for the arts education as well. Then again, in that particular engineering domain, it became a very nice struggle between the software-based approach and the core branches. How that has been designed, actually, what was the basic fundamental deciding parameters, according to me, that I would like to elaborate. Then basically I was happy to see to read a few blogs. Those were written by probably some very nice tele experts who have nicely elaborated how tele has progressed and been in a position to address many challenges. Those we can see are available in each and every area. So let's move forward with this very first approach. All of us have already been familiar with this very popular word that has transformed probably across the globe now. This is a new education policy, National Education Policy 2020, that has been a new education paradigm for our Indian education system, and has significantly impacted the pattern that was basically carried during last 4, 5, 6 decades. Very nice paradigm it is. When most of you are already aware about it, I'll just take a few minutes to brief about this. This particular paradigm talks about multidisciplinary blended education format. How, in short, if I say that if some commerce guy is there, then in this particular format, that particular commerce guy is expected to take some science course also. And if you talk about some arts guy, he is expected to take some commerce course also. Like each and every student in this particular format of NEP is expected to score some credits into other domains. What do we achieve by doing that? So it's a basically old Indian education format that has been again relaunched, where what was happening earlier days, if you would have heard the words Gurukuls. So how the Gurukuls were basically training their students, they were training their students in each and every art. You take it archery, you take it literature, you take it utensils cleaning. Each and every action was treated as a format of education, and each and every student was trained into that. So earlier days, the same thing was there, that no work was treated as inferior, and each and every student was supposed to perform some hours, days, months while doing some typical job, work, and earn learning from there. So this has been launched in the NEP format. Very nice initiative of Ministry of Education. They took almost again a decade to formulate the plan. I'll be just showing you the glimpses of that. And it talks about skilled education, skill education. Skill education means you take it for the school level students, you take it for the higher education student. Each student in a particular semester of a study or the year of a study is now expected to earn some credits into skills also. So a very popular format of education, you can just refer as an example from the China. So they also focus rigorously on that. So, but now this has been a recent change for us, and it's not easy for our Indian education institutions to completely imbibe upon that and take it on the accelerated path. It's going on, but at a very slow speed. It is expected to get the acceleration maybe in 2 years or 3 years time from now. But what do we see that this format has done a remarkable job. This particular format of the blended education has touched almost each and every age group. Now, as I was just mentioning that school students or the higher education students, only not these two groups are only left over groups for receiving this education new format. You talk about the senior citizens, you talk about an ordinary laborer, each and every segment of the society has got the advantage of this. They are in a position to get the advantage of this. Many have started already getting that. So how I'll be elaborating just by an example. Now a normal laborer who actually wanted to study but spent his whole life while earning bread and butter for the family, working in the daytime. Now he's getting an opportunity to study for some degrees, some schools in the evenings, and that to his own interest. If somebody wanted to study history with physics, for example, now it's possible. If somebody wanted to study economics with chemistry, it's possible now. So this multidisciplinary education formats have been launched by the universities, Indian universities, and all these formats have been readily accepted by almost all age groups. If they at the school level, it is separately getting worked by the students and teachers to involve more and more skill hours in a day. At the university part, it has already been a semester or the year format where this skill part has already been introduced. So what it has delivered to us, it has clearly suggested us, let's go for the hybrid work model as the most preferred model. Means I'll just come to that. COVID taught us something very interesting, that people need to choose some other option that was already there, but people were actually not fond of that, the online format of education. But COVID has forced each and everybody to go into that. So later on now, what is the transformation? The transformation is that people wants to go back to the work. And once they have started moving back to the work, they are finding that probably the online provided them enough comfort that they were not willing to lose at all. So the overall conclusion, this has been most expected and accepted also from major sectors. It's a hybrid work model. And another clear advantage is that now students are not forced to study only in the classes. Students are not forced at all. They are now having the freedom to study from anywhere. Somebody is just using his mobile and learning some very interesting online Java, Python, some course, sitting anywhere. So classroom restriction has gone away. And what is the clear advantage as far as I think, that all these new formats and facilities of online formats have prompted humans to use less cognitive approach. Means the analysis power has probably decreased. This is what one can take in some clear points. So this is what I was just mentioning, that some screenshots of recently launched national education policy glimpses, where they talk about soft skills, they talk about 64 colors. All of you must have heard this word somewhere. And each and every student in the ancient time was expected to obtain these 64 colors, and then only he was basically relieved from the Gurukul. So the same concept has been imbibed by the MOE, and they have drafted a very nice model that has been working. So the complete focus is on the STEM approach, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. All these 4 domains are touching almost each and every domain. Again, a vocational approach, skill education approach has been prompted significantly in last decade. So one more very interesting data was there, that this so-called national education policy has been in the position to address in a very nice way. That is basically the gross enrollment ratio of the students in the higher education. Typically around 27%. Now it has shot to almost 33-34%. And definitely it was expected that we should have received almost 50% students enrolled in the higher education by the end of the next year. Though seems difficult, but we are on the right approach. So how this blended education is affecting sectors? Basically, education is an obvious touch. It's a very first approach. Each learner has to go through this particular sector as a very first one. Then your MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises are also getting a huge advantage. Now their efforts have been significantly reduced. New training methods have been launched, suggested by these methods. And the global trade is basically being covered. If you see the gross picture across globe, then the risk is definitely being reduced to a very optimal stage. And now typically we are having a mixed economy state. What has been predicted across globe, that probably using this blended education format, you will not be in a position to see a recession zone across globe. It has been interpreted, not exactly confirmed, but yes, a recession-free growth you can estimate for many years to be evident across globe. So how do we achieve this? Basically, blended education, as I just mentioned, that each and every student is supposed to obtain some credits into different formats of education. But this financial learning is something, there is no format, there is no domain where students are untouched with this financial learning part. I mean, there is no domain. Even if you talk about the school students, they are also now being very sensitive about getting this financial learning, how they manage the finances. And if you talk about the higher education sectors, of course, specific credits have been given. And then if you talk about professional courses, full intensified approach has already been launched. You would notice probably almost all IITs and IIMs are now offering online courses for getting you upgraded for your skills. You would probably notice that these courses do not belong to the core. They typically or completely belong to the skill education. So if XYZ individual already obtained a typical core MBA, still he is needing to earn some certifications into new courses. Those have already been offered, like for example, new market design, financial economy, third sector, and a lot of many others. So my summation is that no core as of now can be in a position to make you a completely prepared human being for accepting, handling the complex work challenges, specifically at the financial part. So and financial challenges at your work will emerge from any complex issue. Some interesting complex circumstances I'll elaborate in my coming slides as an example. So anybody, a person needs to be really financially literate in today's time, and this expertise has been on the counting side separate. Whosoever or whatsoever can be your academic background, but this financial literacy is entirely different. So probably what prompted in our Indian education system to take this blended format and utilize financial learning as a very important tool for propagation is this so-called very popular demand and supply format of the global market scenario. Now you will be surprised, you will be amazed that an ordinary rickshaw puller is also sensitive about it, specifically post-COVID, that how my finances across, how my family finances are going to be affected throughout the year. Very nice explanation you can even see from these people, that they are now in a position to plan their whole whole year expenses in advance, and that too with better accuracy than ever. So each and every family has got literacy level, financial literacy to some extent. Now they can plan their expenses in a much better way than earlier. And the credit goes to probably this COVID generated online formats of education. Those have given them enough opportunity to take some additional learning other than the work what they do. And this has been really a remarkable approach. Now, if you see that as an example, during COVID, what happened actually, substantial number of salaried people and academically sound individuals moved to the organic farming, for example, and many other service sectors, where they were just being in a position to manage their finances, even when their original employers were not in a position to pay them salaries. So people managed. So that has been a very interesting thing, that people during COVID time and post-COVID have been definitely in a position to that level of financial literacy that they know very well how to manage expenses. This percentage has increased significantly. For example, in families, if you would see that now, if you talk about financial maturity, even your younger member in the family, they are also very sensitive about managing expenses as a family part. So this is what make me amazed, that probably the sense of accounting has now been intervened into each and every family, and each and every member has become sensitive about it, that how the family expenses would go. And overall scenario of the global market actually starts from a family expenses only. So they know very well that what needs to be done for this week, for this month, for this year, and then how much financial liability will be generated, and how will they be managing that liability maybe in a month's time, or maybe 2 months time, 6 months time. They have this projection now available with them. So that's a very nice approach that has been conveyed by this so-called COVID generated online blended format. It was absolutely not available before we had this, before we were not having this blended education format. So it's a direct blessing from this blended format of education. So now accounting of funds is not the only issue that the families or the MSMEs or the production hubs are taking care. They are also sensitive about sustainability issues. So means generation of fund is now not only concerned, they also know that can we make it generating with taking care of the sustainability issue. So sustainability with sustainable accounting, probably these two are the parallel ongoing approaches. Thank you. So what do I see as a higher education administrator? that probably demand of capable accounting platform has emerged. Why? Because now, as I can see, as a very much established fact, that each and every smallest possible unit in our society, that is a family, needs to plan for the year expenses in advance. And they have hundreds of miscellaneous issues. Miscellaneous hundreds issues means they have to take care of the medical expenses. They have to take care for the educational expenses. They have to take care for the transport expenses, grocery expenses, XYZ, many. Hundreds of issues are there. Since the smallest possible unit in a society is already in a position to utilize some so-called capable platform accounting for almost 100 of issues, then the need emerges. So, in short, a common man not only needs to be wise enough for taking day-to-day decisions in running a household life, he also needs to prepare himself for unpredicted circumstances. So the consideration of the probability is now an essential approach with each and every family. So an accounting platform incorporating the fundamentals of probability is utmost requirement as of today, that can see the flow of the expenses of a family across past 2-3 years, for example, takes as an input projection for the coming 3 years based on the education, based on the age of the family members involved, based on their day-to-day expenses of grocery, transportation, etc., and need to be in a position to tell them the right kind of investment and the right kind of saving approaches. This is how probability is coming into picture. I would like to just share you very interesting factor. July 2019 or December 2019, that particular semester, this so-called set of authors have written this paper, where what was happening, nearly 29 to 34% of the people were having the bank accounts actually from the rural and urban part of our nation. Now you can imagine that what was the level of the financial planning with each and every smallest possible unit in our nation during typically 2019. And what has been just in last 2-3 years, nearly 90% of the people are having now accounts, typically with the age more than 15 years and above. How this transformation has been induced. So this growth has been induced because COVID forced each and every unit to plan for financial expectations in advance. In advance means you need to plan for your expenses across the year well in time, considering all possibilities, all probabilities of our expected circumstances, and manage it nicely, peacefully, happily. So each family has started looking for tools. Those can help them to manage their expenses year by year, month by month, week by week. For example, one more very interesting example I would like to share with you. Some people interpreted this so-called financial literacy as financial empowerment. That was actually there. But it has been prompted and induced with full intensity in just last 2-3 years. And why it was actually treated as an isolated approach than your daily routine. And this treatment of an isolated approach has absolutely been disappeared just in last 3 years. It's a significant growth. It's a very significant step taken by each and every family. And if you see that it is not very few institutions as of now in our higher education institution scenario, HEIs of India are taking care of this issue as on date, though they have absolutely realized that this is an utmost important issue, but this has been happening that position to utilize it in 100% method as on today, but it is absolutely needed. For example, now many you would be seconded with this thought that many financial tech and edtech tools have already been there. All those two different tools, edtech tools and financial tools, are overlapped, mapped to some extent. Means any edtech tool will let you to earn new knowledge and will simultaneously offer you the best possible method to get it sponsored. So that planning is also being offered at the same time. So now you will not just be suggested to get some new approach of learning, you will also be suggested how can you get that at a reduced price. So that's the nice thing that is being interpreted as a financial empowerment. That's a very nice approach. For MSME, equally it is important. You will see that they mostly struggle with the financials. I mean, financial crunch is already as a random practice with most MSMEs. So it is also helping them to manage their finances with predictions of clear stages of production, supply, demand, and marketing. All those issues have now been configured based on some science. I'll be just coming to that. So each and every sector like education, MSME, both of these sectors are absolutely coupled with all this new approach of blended education. So it is not an isolated theory as of now, no. It is definitely been incorporated deeper, though not in proper use. It's true. So all this how is being designed and discussed with a layman approach, that it is all about science. Some mathematical very interesting models are there. Those are helping to cover this financial market analysis, market crashes. Is there a probability in a particular sector, or what are those sectors where growth is probable? So all this is being a scientific approach. Nothing is hypothetical. So how the scientific approach is there? I mean, some specific profiles are there. Those people are using extensively to set their analysis track of each and every sector. Take into consideration some values as plus minus of the risk coverage, and then an optimized model is there that will be suggesting them the best time to invest in a particular sector and best time to withdraw your investment. So each and everything is now being more sophisticated, planned way than ever. It was not earlier at all. So this is how it's a very popular, ordinarily available and working approach. Typical Gaussian distribution, if you see. So each and every sector, you talk about production, you talk about risk management, you talk about market chain, you talk about retail. Each and every sector more or less falling under this profile of the so-called distribution, mathematical distribution completely, and will let you to understand that how to plan your expenses in a particular sector and at what time. So market fluctuations are there. This third picture, if you see that this is a typical bell curve where it has been expected that most of the very sensitive data will only fall around 60%. And then you will either have the bad data or the good data other than that. So that is also the approach in today's investment time. If you see that people are now in a position to offer you the variety of capping, means you go for the either a stability fund or you go for the balance fund, growth fund, you decide. So out of this profile, you can decide that, okay, I want to take chance as the most sensitive zone, you take that chance. Or someone decides, no, I'll preferring the stable zone, you can decide and choose for that. So this selection was not at all available earlier. Now with this interesting approach of embedded education, financial models have been now as a tool of utilization across almost each and every sector. And people are also aware about the division of the peak, means higher sensitive data might differ on the lower side also, higher side also. So that is typically known as skewness of the curve. So, I mean, one is also aware about it, that if I am, for example, dealing in a retail market, so this market is typically expected to be skewed right. So let's take decision accordingly. If some market, vegetable market, for example, is being stabilized, mostly fall in the middle, so people go with more confidence for the green zone, for example. So if you talk about the vegetables, other sectors, people are still in the green zone. If you talk about some investments in some say production sector, some typical, so that might fall either in the yellow zone or the blue zone also, depending upon the demand and the projection of the demand, how it is about to come in coming 10 years of the time, for example. So each and everything is being systematically designed. The applications are available, so you can plan in more sophisticated way now. And accordingly, if you see that more theories are there, all these theories are now available to you in the form of applications. So more and more applications you get for the investments, for example, for planning your expenses, is basically the incorporation of more and more theory. It is typically a multivariable approach all the time. So how it is happening means, if you plan your investment for a year, for example, then as I just mentioned that at least 2 or more than 2 variables would always be there. Those will be in a position to affect your planning. So you need to be very sensitive about taking care of those multivariables, up to what extent those variables are supposed to fluctuate, and then only you will be more sure to feed your data of investment time. For example, okay, maybe I can plan for the 6 months, then withdraw my investment, something like that. So this is all related to specific schedule theories, scientific theories. Those are already available to you in the form of applications as on today. So how AI basically helped us to reduce all this physical paperwork. So of course it intervened into our lives. All of us know that COVID accelerated online formats, and the online formats also prompted the choice-based demand, need-based approach. Somebody has to study some topic in the finance and would like to study the production finance, not the marketing finance. So this prompting required some keywords, and those keywords have designed a typical expected approach for that particular learner, readily available now in the applications. So it came by default because everybody was prompted to go for that approach. So what about this benefited end users groups? I believe that almost no age group is there that did not get the advantage of this. If you even see families who were taking care of the toddlers, COVID times, many situations, circumstances, complex arrived when mothers were expected to take care of the babies at home without having an opportunity of physical interaction with any doctor. AI played a very interesting role, suggested them multiple solutions, and out of those solutions they had used their human wisdom to select the best one for their child, for example, and got the advantage. Thousands, lakhs of examples are there of this approach. So here, what I would like to say that AI intervened into our lives, but still millions of examples exist, clear evidence that it's actually a blend of AI with human intelligence that is actually working. So you cannot say completely that AI helped you in toto. No, you have been into a position to put some intelligent keywords using your own wisdom, took the help of AI, and then the whole thing got delivered to you. So this is very interesting, and this is what is also interpreted as augmented delivery. So this is already been explained. Whatsoever sector you take education, you take production, you take service sector, you take delivery, anything. All this is been designed using some fundamental segments of knowledge making process, that is basically data extraction, data validation, data mapping, data analysis, meticulous and accurate data transfer. Each and every segment, as mentioned here, is having a further deeper approach that how to differentiate between the good and bad data. That's again a typical different science. So each and every segment was designed, prepared. You know, AI is being improved day by day and will keep improving probably all the time. You will never be in a position to get the 100% accurate response from the AI. That won't happen. Always intervention of the human wisdom, you will be seeing it as an evident factor of acting, always. So data extraction, data validation, then data mapping, data analysis, meticulous and accurate data transfer. Without using a complete flow chart like this, you will not be in a position to get the best from an application what you want. Therefore, right now also you would be amazed, like ChatGPT has already been arrived. And if you just use a simple tool of using ChatGPT to design some typical presentation for you, and you set some keywords, you will not get the right and expected approach as per you at all. That won't happen. Because probably you missed this blended AI human intelligence approach. So AI is already available to help you to get some target, maybe that can reduce your hours of work to design the basic data, basic matter. But what you actually expect to deliver will not be possible without using your own intelligence. It is always in the form of a balance. Maybe 60% or 70% AI helped you, but 30 to 40% you need to use intelligence to make that data full and expected as you want. And an obvious reason is a missing emotional intelligence. EQ is also interpreted as emotional quotient, because many a times, as I just mentioned earlier, the example of a family that has to take care of the toddler. So there is no possibility of doctor physical meet. So some homemade remedy has to be suggested by the AI. How? Emotional intelligence has to be used. It will be recommending you some suggestions. But if you don't use an emotional intelligence, you don't use some typical keywords belonging to this AI, you won't get a perfect or closest perfect working solution for your kid. Won't happen. If you talk about the again education scenario, I'll just be coming to one more example. As I just mentioned, that decades have passed when majority of the parents were prompting their kids to go for engineering education. Why? Because the global scenario of the demand and supply was like that. So it was basically outward to inward approach. in that particular decade that prompted most kids to go for the engineering education. In today's time, it is an inward to outward approach. Now, while building a family, you can plan earlier with a 3-4-year-old child that, okay, based on emotional intelligence, I see that this particular kid is more prompted for getting calculations done faster. So maybe he can be a good finance guy probably. So you plan and you are in a position to design the various skill courses for him in advance. Will be suggested to you at the level of the age also. And you can plan his education to the higher education level accordingly, and probably will be in a position to deliver an excellent, capable financial expert from that so-called upcoming child. It is not possible. So, but emotional intelligence has to be used. You cannot completely depend upon AI. It has to be the inward to outward approach now. Earlier, it was outward to inward approach. This is what a very trivial example I prefer to give here. I mean, some warehouse is holding some cereals for quite a long time. What will happen? Most of the families also, as in today, when they go for the grocery purchase, they just go and buy the things without bothering about the cost fluctuation. So once they complete their whole purchase, at the end of the day, when they see their bills, they find the last month it has been almost 20 to 30% hike. How? Why? And why there was no tool that could have suggested them to avoid buying a few things in order to maintain their expenses. Because still we are waiting for some capable platforms like Tally to take charge fully and be in a position to be available with each and every family in the form of an application where they can be suggested that right now the price fluctuation for so-called set of cereals is high. Either you hold your cereals for some time or purchase the lower quantity in order to maintain your expenses fixed. So this is how families, means the smallest unit in the society, has to be helped. And the platforms like Tally, for example, they are in a position to help the people, no doubt about it. So I expect that this is what AI should do for smallest possible unit family, that suggest them how to manage their month expenses by taking a gross picture into consideration for all the grocery part, all the electricity issues, all water expenses, all services related expenses into consideration, and then offer them that maybe you can hold your expenses in this particular head for these 2 months, for example. Families will be enabled financially. And once you are in a position to enable financially smallest possible unit in society, the nation has to grow. Nation will grow. So this is what I was just mentioning before a few minutes, that it is now inward to outward delivery, not the earlier decade outward to inward delivery. So what was happening earlier? This was happening. It was a demand coming from the globe that engineers are needed, engineers are needed, engineers are needed. So all those coming demands from outside to inside, they designed engineering education as a thrust area. So how the Indian education was designed, it was basically depending upon how the demands were coming from the outside world. Now with this NEP format, very nice blended format, you can plan it the left hand side. You plan the thrust areas where you see that there is a dearth of the people studying history, where there is a dearth of the people studying geography, for example. You plan that earlier, and then you are able to design production, design, service, management, all sectors yourself. You can design that. So in short, with this left hand side flowchart, I am interested in making this comment that businesses can be developed also, depending upon what are the thrust areas where there is a dearth of the people. And this is for sure that you cannot afford students leaving to study history completely. You can't afford that. You cannot afford students leaving to study Sanskrit, for example. You cannot afford students to leave studying Spanish as a language. No, you can't afford that. So each and every skill is desired, and services production means the employability sectors you can design, you can invent. It is possible. It is absolutely possible. So this is what typical references I was studying from some people. Very nice interpretations. They have already worked enough on that. I mean, use of AI and accounting firms to adopt it. I mean, it's a complete direct force, and people need it. So similarly, it has been demand, but again, for this so-called comment, my submission, as I just mentioned, that you cannot avoid to use emotional intelligence. Human wisdom will play. Then only you can make the maximum use of this AI. As I just have given the smallest possible family making enabling example. So this is how your finances will grow. So I am really amazed to notice that AI has, I mean, Tally has already taken very nice initiatives by Tally Prime and many other things. So they are very close to be in a position to help this smallest possible unit family, helping as per my expectations are there. And I'm sure that with this so-called approach of Tally, we should be in a position to design more and more service sectors and generate employment accordingly. So this is not a big deal. So people need not to depend upon already set up businesses. People can design businesses also. So generating employment, generating new businesses is not a big deal if very single skill of accounting is taken a complete care. And I'm sure that the platforms like Tally, they can definitely take care of this. And I'm really hopeful that we will be getting it delivered soon. Thank you everyone for listening me patiently. And now will be absolutely happy to take your queries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I mean, such insightful, wonderful session. I was all dived into this session. I was listening to everything which you were saying, and I guess the audience also finds the same. And I would now request if anybody from the audience, the students or the partners or anybody who's listening this session, even the session is live on YouTube. Viewers from YouTube also, if you want to ask anything, please put your questions in the chat box. Your questions will be answered by sir. I hope whatever kind of queries we have, he has also shared his email ID. If you want to directly ask something or discuss something further also, he is available on these email IDs. You can approach him. And here also, if right away you want to ask anything, your questions are most welcome. Okay, so there are already many questions. I was still asking. A lot of love from YouTube. People are commenting and popping up these emojis these days, sir. You would understand that Gen Z, that reactions and these are working very high. So the questions I would just read. Suresh Menon has asked, is our accountant job will be replaced by AI? So this is the fear actually. So I think these were the top. I was imagining these kind of questions for this session. Yes, sir. Please, if you could.
Not at all, not at all. I'm telling you, your accountant will get a promotion even if he starts using AI.
Great, good to hear that. I hope it would relax many of us listening to this session.
Because capable accounting is actually missing, and if an accountant takes this approach of using AI, and as I just mentioned, that use your emotional intelligence, and entirely new dimension of accounting will emerge, and you will be amazed that each and every end user will be so happy to get connected with you.
So we have many questions. I would take some of them which I feel are more relevant. One of it is from Karthik. How do you think AI will change the type of jobs available in the finance industry?
AI will make your job more brain applicative, I would tell you. That AI will leave you with a ready content almost 70%, will solve your physical work time and will leave you to use your human intelligence to make it compatible with the needs of the customer.
Okay, sir. Thank you for answering, sir. Mr. Amit Kumar Jain, who is our very valuable partner, education partner, is asking this question. So I believe this question is not only from him, but many of other partners also, our education partners. He's saying if AI will be implemented in Delhi, then our institute will be getting less students. Is it so, sir?
AI will be implemented in
Delhi. So they would be getting less admissions in their institutions.
which institutions?
I mean the education centers that are teaching tele, basically the student centers who are giving tele setup.
I'm telling you the admission number has to be multifold. I'm telling you in coming times. You just need to use your accounting teaching using AI, and I'm telling you the number will not be short. Each and every student. I mean, if as I just mentioned, at one stage will come when an ordinary rickshaw puller will also have interest to take your course.
Yes, I think because this is something which is unknown yet by many of us, and it is not fully discovered, like how what AI can be better used. So I think the fear is also there, some nervousness is also there, though we are happy about something new is coming, but again, yes, some fear is also there, which I can even see in the comments and questions also. But thank you for answering with the so positivity, so that people like us would be less fearful. So I would also see that yes, my job is also secured.
Absolutely secured. You will get promotion. I'm telling you that. You just start using AI and make your work domain defined by you only.
Yes. So thank you, sir. One more question we have from Mr. K. Shankar Siddhartha. He's asking, does AI help in enabling skills of the students?
Again, as I just if you ask me about cognitive skills, no. If you ask me about the practical skills, hands-on, yes.
Great. So after listening to your answer, sir, Amit Kumar Jain ji has posted his feedback that I will be the first person to start AI courses at my center. So the positivity of your explanations, I guess, is coming from our audience. So more questions that we have.
I'm telling you, accounting with AI is the future. Is the future that will be welcomed by almost each and every sector in the society.
Yes. One more question I guess we have is what advice do you have for our young finance professionals who are already in the market to stay ahead from the others?
Use AI models and trying to recognize your customer deeper.
Thank you, sir. I think majority, I'm not taking the repeated questions which are repeatedly, as I said, that is like more of it was a fear also, and somewhere it was that, not accepting it properly because there's still, I mean, this sector is still undiscovered properly. So I guess, yes. So there are some feedbacks and suggestions also in between. People are saying, thank you so much for the wonderful session, sir. It was very insightful. Sir, comments from our partners and students also. And now I think people are sharing the feedbacks. So I would just request, if any other feedback or query or question from the audience, I would just request if you can put it, because I think we are already on time. It is already 4 o'clock. Okay, so Mr. Shankar is asking again.
I'm also a learner, and I'm telling you that this topic, I'm just using my experience of handling almost 35 students in my previous different institutions, and listening their 35,000 problems accordingly. And therefore, I am finding that this AI with accounting and emergence of these new fintech tools is the hope for the future.
Yes, sir. So
You were asking
I
a
believe.
question, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There was a question. So okay, now this question I think you have already answered. Okay, so it is almost the relevant question, I guess, that I think there is a surety of students who are learning through AI-powered financial education will be getting good jobs.
Of course.
Yes, so I think more are suggestions only, feedbacks only. So we still have 1 more minute if you want to ask anything else, because I think your some answers were so positive that people already got some answers in their mind that yes, it is going to be positive only, nowhere any invention goes wrong. So
Not at all. Not at all.
yes, a poll question is there on your screens. I would request you to please share your feedbacks about the session, and you're always welcome to give your feedbacks about session or anything else that you would want to share with us. Would be really helpful even for our upcoming sessions and for the sessions. Your feedbacks are always valuable. So a new AI skills required, AI and Power BI. Okay, these are just normal comments, I guess. So it is more of a discussion, I guess, now. So want to thank the audience here who has been listening to this session very patiently and was being a very good audience and asking very relevant questions also. So it was really nice to know that yes, we have people who are actually wanting to go ahead and want to be with the current time which is there with the new inventions. And a very big thanks to Dr. Vaibhav Shrivastava sir, who has given us insightful presentation. Of course, the presentation and the research was so valuable, sir, because we would have never gone to that extent to research about these things. And on AI-enabled session that you have shared today, it was extensive experience of your session, and that has been really very valuable for our centers and for our partners who are already running this courses. And we really appreciate your time and expertise for today. And to our audience, we hope you would found this session very good, very helpful and inspiring. Please motivate our students and learners ahead for this. Let's continue to explore the and embrace the innovative education approaches to the enhanced financial learning using AI tools. So I
It is the
believe
future. Best wishes for all of you learners, and I'm also a learner like you. So I'm telling you with confidence that once while dealing in this accounting learning with AI, if you are sensitive about your customer, you will never be falling back. You will only rise.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir. Rightly said to all of us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and your experiences with us
Thank you very
today.
much.
It was great having you today. Thank you, sir. Have a great evening. Thank you to all, and even to people who are watching us on YouTube. Thank you.